Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Greg, and in today's video we are going to build a round table. Just keep in mind, this is officially my first round table I ever built, so we're going to figure this journey out together. I'm going to show you my steps, my techniques I took in building this table. And that weird guy you see there at the back, that's my little bro Nate. He helped me with a few days on this project. We figured everything out together. Starting off, going to pack the better sides of our timbers facing up. Then it's very crucial to actually mark your pieces of wood, one to wherever you go to, and they should stay in this order, and I'm going to explain why in the steps to follow. So at this stage of my project, I am just getting the center of my table using a very long straight edge, and then moving on to creating a quick jig where I can draw a line to get the outer circle for my table, just using a straight plank. And always remember, when you build any table, well, in my viewpoint, I always build my tables slightly bigger. And as for this project as well, I think the finishing size was 1.8, but I ended up making it 20mm bigger. If I made a mistake somewhere in the project, there is definitely room for error. Using a straight edge and my big square, I am just marking all the lines where I want to cut the pockets for my dominoes. The reason for this exercise is to mark your outer circle to make sure when you're going to cut the holes for your dominoes, that when you're going to cut your table to its finish size, that you're not going to cut into a domino. Starting cutting the holes for my dominoes, I'm using my FESTOOL domino machine, and what an absolute treat it is working with this machine. This is by far the best tool in my shop, and I'm super impressed with how smooth and how clean cut this machine is giving me. And as you can see, there's absolutely no dust whatsoever. And the only thing I can improve in this step is actually to wear some safety glasses. So doing the glue up, this is one part of every project where I have to do glue ups. I'm absolutely not shy of using too much glue. In my point of view, the more glue, the better. And applying your dominoes inside your holes, make sure to always add additional glue inside the pockets you cut for your dominoes. And I actually had to do two separate glue ups for this project because I haven't got a big enough clamp table. So I clamped the one piece down, waited for it to dry, and clamped the other pieces down, waited for that to dry, and then clamped those two pieces together to make one big table. As you can see on the right hand side of the table, there's two pieces of square tubing steel, and you will notice once you start clamping your tables down, you won't have a flat surface. So I am just using two square tubings and clamp it down to make sure your surface is flat. Just check the spot. Boom! Got the finger right in there. Didn't expect that at all, and that was actually sore. So clamping my two pieces together, I am actually using my clamp table, which you see is the steel frame down there, which I'm still busy building to do very large, big glue up tables. I am placing my two separate pieces of tables I made together on my flat surface, and then just hitting them in with some wedges to make sure the bond between the two pieces of timbers are actually very strong. And remember to always, when you do a glue up, it's important to see the wood glue actually squeeze out in between the two timbers. And as I mentioned before, to make sure your surface for your table is straight, I am using a steel C-channel to clamp it down on top of my table to make sure my surface is flat. Moving to the next part of this project is to actually build the jig to cut your circle on your table. And I just used the MDF superwood board, cut a hole for my router bit to pass through, fasten my FESTOOL router to the underside, and I actually found out afterwards that the FESTOOL router actually got a clamp that clamps to the track saw, which you can use to cut a perfect circle. But in my case, I made a quick DIY plan, and as you can see, it's working perfectly. And just to make sure to cut about 2 to 3 millimeters of material off at once. And I honestly do have to mention that it was a real pleasure working with the FESTOOL system. As you can see in this video, there's absolutely no dust at all. And previously using my older tools, by this time I was covered in sawdust. So while you're busy checking out my jockey underpants, why don't you go and check out the subscribe button as well? Help us build this channel to be something magnificent. Like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you don't miss out on any future projects we're posting. So there was this one spot on the table that had this bark inside, where I decided to apply some epoxy, some black epoxy to fit with the black steel legs the client decided to go to. And make sure once you apply epoxy to any project that you have to remove the bark from your wood. Apologies for the camera being out of focus. Sometimes it's really difficult to be the cameraman and the physical person doing the work. Just giving my table a small 45-degree chamfer to give it a nice, smooth, clean look on top. Sanding my table to 400 grit sandpaper, and I honestly do have to say that's the nice thing about using Odie's oil, is you can sand to higher grits, meaning that you will have a much smoother surface. So for this project I sanded all the way down to 400 grit, and always remember to remove the dust extraction. Put your machine on a lower RPM when applying Odie's oil. Yes, I got lazy and started using my FESTOOL ETS 5 to apply my Odie's oil, because I've got big enough biceps already, and this is just making my work much more easy. Applying Odie's oil, I started off with the Super Duper, and then I moved on to the original Odie's oil. Thanks guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, enjoying the final product, and I'll see you next week with another super cool video. Cheers guys!